I feel like it's part of our duty, Larry, to sometimes pull back the reins of enthusiasm. Whoa there, slow down just a little bit. Not
Pump
today.
the brakes. Yeah.
There's really no reason to pump any brakes at all about this 49ers team and what is continuing the theme that is just the most important theme of the year here, Larry. They played another game. They're through 5 weeks of football. Not a bump, not a bruise. I mean, I'm sure guys are going to be a nice tub today. That's what happens after every football game. No major injuries, Larry. Nothing to talk about. No time away from the team recovering for anyone so far. And I wonder how many teams in football are injury-free through 5 weeks. Because the Niners are essentially living that existence right now.
No doubt. And more than anything, they're at a point now where I think, they're firmly inside their Super Bowl window. You just mentioned they're adding Randy Gregory, but Randy Gregory will be added, but the Niners still have $41 million of cap room and a bevy of draft choices. Now it's about targeting the one player that gets you over the top. If you're John Lynch, the one thing about this, like nobody ever, you notice when the Niners talk about their Super Bowls, Damon, nobody ever says, yeah, but that team in 94 was unfair. They had Dion and they had Dent and they had Ricky Jackson and they had a Plummer and Norton. No, they just say it's a Super Bowl. Do you think anybody walks around saying, yeah, the Warriors with KD, but that was unfair? No, nobody cares.
Actually, that was like the first time in sports history where this is unfair, don't allow it really did come into play in a national conversation. It was weird, but I understand exactly what you're saying. I do. I really do.
Nobody's going to remember down the road if you load it up. They're only going to remember if you fall short. So if you're John Lynch, you still got $41 million. You still have a whole slew of draft choices. Denver, according to Adam Schefter, is willing to move every and any defensive player to reset their deal next year. Patrick Surtain, go get him. Go get a true number one corner. Look at the teams you're going against at the next level. Kansas City, I think, is likely to add a wide receiver. Eagles have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Miami have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and they just added Chase Claypool, and he'll probably play better there. Buffalo's probably going to wind up adding a receiver, maybe a Mike Evans, to go with Stephon Diggs, to go with Gabe Davis, to go.
By the way, you can take your Jonathan Taylor cocaine-fueled pipe dream off the table. He's not coming.
Well, that's great news, because my whole thought on Jonathan Taylor wasn't really get him for the Niners. It was get him to keep him away from Miami, right, Dallas, Philly, Kansas City. So now that he re-signed in Indy, all the better. But I'm just saying, if you're John Lynch, if you're looking up, today is the 9th of October. On the 31st of October in the middle of the day is the NFL trade deadline. Now start dreaming the dream. What is out there? Who is out there that gets you over the top? You're not going to probably be able to acquire a tackle. The Niner offensive line played really, really well against a phenomenal front last night. So maybe the need is not even at tackle.
Yeah, I don't even know how much you need it, Larry. I mean, McKivitz is absolutely holding his own. He is a lateral move, if not an upgrade from McGlinchey. It's like McGlinchey's there.
Maybe it's another.
McGlinchey wasn't nearly as bad as everyone tried to make him out to be.
Right. And this guy's McKivitz is a really trusted guy in the room. They believe in McKivitz. And I don't know that you can upgrade tackle. But like Randy Gregory's great. But if you can get one more edge rusher, maybe you do it. Watching Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, if you could get one more really hard hitter on your defense anywhere, maybe you do it. If you can get a shutdown corner, maybe you do it. I'll give you another one. If you could get Kyle Pitts out of Atlanta, and you could get another weapon that adds to this offense, maybe you do it. There's nothing that says that you have to win the Super Bowl by the skin of your teeth. It's okay to blow people out. And when the Niners got their last ring, what was the final in the Super Bowl? It was like 49-26 or something like that. What was the last two Super Bowls that the Niners have won have been massive one-sided blowouts where they were the best team at the anthem. There ain't nothing wrong with that. And if I was them, they're in that neighborhood now. Lynch knows it. Kyle knows it. The players know it. If you said to me, I'd say it's one more corner. If you could add one more dominant corner, I think you could sit there and be like, good night. Nobody's touching this team. And if I were them,
you're ready to record the Super Bowl shuffle in November. They add one more corner.
Yes.
This is a phenomenal start. And look, Larry, as I told you last night when I came on your post-game show, I'm not here to take shots at anyone who has taken a position on Brock Purdy that Brock Purdy is proving not just wrong, but completely untethered to the reality that you were trying to present. I will say this, though. It takes no talent at all to doubt Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, everything we knew about the guy coming into this league officially gives you the green light to doubt him. How many Iowa State quarterbacks selected last in the draft have ever gone on to make a practice squad, much less turn into a guy who can lead you to a Super Bowl? It's easy. You are correctly set up to doubt Brock Purdy. It's the right investment to make at the beginning of his career. But at some point, you got to admit that all the questions you say every quarterback needs to answer before you can start trusting them, this guy is answering those list of questions, and he's doing it in overwhelming, wildly accurate fashion. So what you thought of Purdy, what you were right to be suspicious of, has been so turned upside down and on its head that we now need to not discuss Brock Purdy in terms of, isn't this a good story? Brock Purdy's on his way to joining the 10 best quarterbacks in this league conversation, which is pretty good considering that podcaster for The Ringer had him 26th best quarterback in football the other week or whatever that was.
I love that guy's line. This guy Ruiz comes out and is like, and if I'm wrong, I'll quit covering football. It sounds like you already have, bro.
Yeah. It's the highest passer rating through 10 games in the history of the NFL. There you go.
Well,
He's got a
go beyond this, David.
passer rating.
Joe Montana started 2-6. Steve Young was not good in his 20s. Really wasn't good until he was 30. This guy stepped off the bench in December, losing to the Dolphins, and has not looked back. He has not had the dog meat game. They're scoring under Brock Purdy. They're scoring over 30 a game. They're undefeated outside of the Philly game where he got knocked out. And how important is Brock Purdy? As soon as he got knocked out, they were cooked in that Philly game. They couldn't even get a snap go. They couldn't even get a play call. They started wasting timeouts. They couldn't get a snap, done. I mean, it was amazing. The guy is on another level. And it's like, I don't think I'm the best personnel guy ever, but man, the first time I saw this guy in camp, I thought, what?
Well, I remember you calling me, and it was, we had other hosts around the Bay Area walking out of, I don't know, maybe the first training camp that they'd ever been to, going like, oh my God, Trey Lance is the future. Oh, but you've never seen anything. And I talked to you on that day, and you're like, dude, this Brock Purdy guy's pretty good. You're like, I'm excited about Brock. And then you heard Kyle start saying things like, I'm more excited about Brock Purdy than I've ever been about a third string guy in my career. Like Shanahan would say that. And
I'll tell you where my revelation came. Because I really believed going into minicamp that they had somebody special. Then in minicamp, he's dominating every drill, looks just absolutely perfect. Looks like, you know what it looked like? It looked like everybody's taking a class, and then this is like some grad student who's there, who's like already taken the class 3 times and is just there kind of, so he does literally everything right. That's what it looked like watching Brock Purdy in minicamp. Then he carries it over to training camp. But I'm still like, okay, I'm going to wait till I see the first preseason game. First preseason game, this guy's working the play clock to 1 in the fourth quarter, showing a level of awareness that rookie quarterbacks playing in their first preseason game never show. And I went up to Tim Ryan afterwards, like a day or two later, and I'm like, dude, Brock Purdy. And he's like, did you see that? And we both knew exactly what the other was talking about. And we were both talking about how he worked the play clock down to nothing. And he's like, we started talking about it. At that point, I was like, oh man, this guy is really something. Then he sits, does not play. He played in August, didn't play in September or October or November. Now it's the second week in December. This guy has not played in 3.5 months. They're losing to the Dolphins. He comes off the bench. The Dolphins brought the house, man. It was like Van Ginkel and all these guys. It was just like absolute jailbreak on the quarterback. And he's throwing blind look passes in the middle of the field to George Kittle and completing them. And the Niners won by like 23, and they haven't looked back since. And it's like the fact that here we are, it's a year plus later almost, or since I saw him, that there are still people like, I don't know. Yeah, that is nothing's truer has ever been stated. You're right. You don't know. Because if you don't know now, you're never going to know. Seriously, this guy is legit. I had people on my streams in the last week saying that he wasn't as good as Dak, that he wasn't as good as Ryan Tannehill. That, come on. Seriously, you're losing your football credibility card if you're saying that this guy's not any good.
I think the problem, Larry, is we have so many people in the conversation who never had that card to begin with. You can't lose something you never had. So it's good to have you here on 49ers Wake Up. Here is my football credibility card. It looks like an acai bowl from Palmetto Superfoods. Larry's got the same card in his back pocket. We'll tell you more about that with the promo code DBLK15. Scan that puppy and use that promo code for 15% off Palmetto Superfoods.